Hi everyone, welcome back. So a couple weeks ago I got an email from this tour company that I used to work with called Take Walks. I believe they're based in Italy because they used to be called Walks of Italy, but they've since expanded to other countries, and so I think they've just changed their name to Take Walks. I've worked with them before. I've recommended several clients to them, and then I've also taken a couple of their tours before. JD and Ty and I took a couple tours in Rome before the driving incident happened. We had a lovely time in Rome, and their tours were fantastic. They did a wonderful job. We took the Roman Colosseum and Forum tour with them, and the Colosseum tour, we actually got to go on the Colosseum floor, which is kind of an exclusive thing. You can't just do that if you go to the Colosseum by yourself. You have to take a tour to do that. And then we also took a tour of the Capuchin monks' bone chapel, I think is what it's called, and the Christian catacombs outside of Rome. So both of those tours were excellent. The guides were great. So the email they sent was that they are now doing virtual tours. They had done such a great job on the actual tours. I wanted to kind of check out and see what these virtual tours are all about. The tour that I signed up for is the Tower of London tour. I've been to the Tower of London before. We did not take a tour when we were there. We just walked around on our own. They do have a lot of really good informational displays at the tower, so I feel like we got a lot of information out of it. Plus you get to see the crown jewels, which is super cool. It'll be interesting though to take the tour and get a little bit more context of the history of the tower. So I'm interested to see what it's all about. So this tour was $10 per person. Most of the tours that I saw on the website were $10 or $15 per person. So you pay for the tour and then you get a credit with Take Walks of $25 to use within the next year, I think it is. It might be in the next 2 years. I'd have to go back and look it up. So you get this credit of $25 to use with them. So I've paid $10, I'm going to get a credit of $25. Assuming I use it, then it's like they're paying me $15 to take this tour, which that is a no-brainer, right? So I signed up for this tour. I don't exactly know what it entails. I don't know if it's going to be live. I assume it's probably going to be live, like a live person leading the tour. You'd have to have a guide. Can't imagine that I'd just pay $10 to watch a video, because I should be able to do that on demand. So I'd assume it's probably got a live guide, but I don't know if that person is going to be walking around the tower or what. I can't imagine so, because the tour is on Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern time, which in England is like 6 p.m. So I can't imagine that they're going to be walking around the tower, because I don't think the tower is open at 6 p.m. on Sundays. Well, right now it might not be open at all because everything's shut down for COVID. So I'm not exactly sure what is going to happen on this tour, but I wanted to check it out and share that with you. They have other ones that are Italian-based ones, which Sistine Chapel was on there, Naples was on there, I think, and Pompeii. So several good tours. And if you are planning to travel to Europe or any of the cities that they offer tours in within the next year or two, then I mean, they're a great tour company. They do great tours, and so I think it's a really good value. But we'll see what the tour is all about. Let's check it out.
Well, welcome everybody. My name is Katie. I know it says Catherine on my little bio here, but I always say I'm Katie to my friends, and I hope that we will all be friends by the end of our lovely little hour-long tour today. Welcome to Tours from Home, and welcome to Walks Tours.
I'm just going to mute Katie here for a second. So this might look familiar to you. If you have been living that Zoom life like I have for the last 4 months, you will know exactly what this is. The entire tour is conducted via Zoom. She's kind of going through the technical aspects of the platform right now, how to use the platform. Everyone is on mute and everyone's cameras are off. They do this to mitigate the distractions that we've all seen going around with this wonderful new communication platform that we have. She does answer questions, so you can chat her the questions throughout the tour, and if it's the right time, she'll answer it live, or she might hold them until the end if it's not really applicable to what she's talking about at that moment. So it's not really a situation where she's walking around and talking about it live in the live environment. It's more of a presentation where she's got some visual aids and she's going to be talking about the history as we go through.
I, of course, am sat here in England. As is typical, it's absolutely chucking it down with rain at the moment. I can hear the rain hammering against my window as we speak. And I, of course, am one of Walk's London guides. I've been a tour guide for about 7 years now, just to tell you a little bit about myself. And I am one of London's Blue Badge guides, which means that I have done a 2-year course specifically on the history of London. And that means that I am hopefully well placed to give you a tour of one of London's most famous landmarks, the Tower of London, which of course is the topic of our talk today. Now, before we get into the nitty gritty, before I start explaining what it is we're going to be talking about, I have a video message from our co-founder and CEO, Stephen Otto. So I'm just going to play that for you now. It will just be a couple of moments and then we'll get cracking with all the exciting stuff. So here we go.
Hi, everyone. My name is Stephen Otto, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Walks. I want to thank you for being part of the Walks community and traveling virtually with us today on today's Tours from Home. When the team here at Walks realized what was happening around the world back in January, and it became clear that the travel industry would be changed for the foreseeable future, we wanted to ensure that we could support our guides and continue to make connections with guests from all over the world over a shared commonality, a love of travel. This program, Tours from Home, was created for that reason. Just a few things to note about the Tours from Home program. There will be time at the end of the tour for Q&A with our guide, so please send any questions you have through the chat section on your Zoom. It's at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, and it's a private message that will go only to your guide. Please feel free to send them in, and we'll review them at the end of the tour and get your questions answered. We'd also love it if you'd share where you're joining us from today via the chat. We've had people join us from all over the world, every different continent you can imagine, and it's another great way to bridge connections during your tour. Second, the only way we can grow this idea and figure out what you love and what can be improved is hearing from you. So in the next day or two, you will receive a survey about today's Spotlight Series tour or Tours from Home traditional tour. Please let us know your thoughts, and we will keep working to create great new experiences for you. Finally, these Tours from Home serve two purposes: bringing places, spaces, ideas, and history into your home. The other is to support our guide community who have been severely impacted by recent events, and their ability to host guests on tours with places they love and are passionate about has been significantly reduced. Therefore, if you enjoyed your tour and feel inclined to send your guide a gratuity, simply click on the original link you used to get to your tour today or navigate back to that page, and a new button will appear to provide an online tip to your guide. Thank you again for being part of our community today, and check back on takewalks.com for new tours we're going to be continually adding. We look forward to seeing you virtually and in person in one of our Walks destinations.
Hi, it's me again, muting Katie one more time. So that's really nice. I like that they provide that video for her to kind of explain how this all got started. I think that is great to hear that messaging. And I think it's very forethinking of them to go down this path beginning in January. They've probably done quite a bit to avoid some of the fallout that they could have had. So that's great. And I really like that she didn't have to say the awkward part about tipping your guide. Of course, you should always tip your guides because they do work very hard. Even though you're not able to be there in person, they are very passionate about what they do. Katie is a great guide. She's a fantastic speaker and she deserves a tip. And I'm sure she's just one of the very many talented guides that they have here. As I said, the guides that we had on the actual tours were excellent as well. So you'll have a great experience, and they really do deserve that little something extra for the work that they do. So she goes through this tour. She uses Google Maps several times throughout to kind of show you where things are in the tower. And they have some really nice photography that she uses throughout the tour as well. She goes into talking about the tower itself, and the yeoman warders and the guard that's there. There are some videos sprinkled in through the presentation, so it's not all just still photographs. So you do get a little bit of variety of content throughout the tour. And then goes into the crown jewels. Of course, there's some Queen Elizabeth stuff in there, including footage of the Queen's coronation back in 1953, which is on YouTube. I guess you can go and watch it there if you haven't seen it. That's kind of cool. And then she goes into the royal regalia. There is a lot of information about the history of the royal regalia. And then more into the history of the tower. And my favorite part is when she starts talking about how everyone gets their heads chopped off. So here's that.
And his head was chopped off. And that's what you can see represented here. The executioner, very casual with his axe, standing behind him. King was devastated, and he retaliated by having her head chopped off. She was about 19 years old at the time. Worst fate possible. She had her head chopped off inside the tower. And this is just a horrific image of this executioner here.
So all in all, I would say that it was a very good tour. Katie was a great guide. I would love to take a tour with her in person in London. That would be great. You can tell that she is very passionate about where she lives and what she does and sharing that knowledge with people. So I think that's kind of the key to having a great tour, is having a great guide. So I think she is definitely a great guide. I learned some things that I didn't know, and saw some things that I didn't notice when I was there. Would have liked to have seen the armory, which is very impressive. Would have also have liked a little bit more interaction. We get the barking dogs thing for sure, 100%. But I think that, there's not really any way to mitigate that other than to mute people as you're going through the presentation. I think that a little bit more interaction or more ways to interact with people would have been great. I know some people aren't really into that interaction, and that's fine. Sometimes you might have a quiet tour and sometimes you might not. But I think they're doing a great job. I think that given the circumstances, they have really innovated with this virtual tour product, and I would totally take some of their other tours. The Sistine Chapel tour, I've been there, but again, not taken a tour. So I will be looking into those, and I recommend that you do the same. So get out there and take some virtual tours. Well, that's all I have for this episode. So thanks for joining me, and safe travels, my friends.